All right, we just watched Dan A beat down Bringer draft his Azorius deck in our Player of the Year top eight. So now me and Jack are going to be looking at the other players, starting with one of the players he was passing to, Thomas. We theorized or asked ourselves if he was in red when the Godric got past him, but he's actually in a Golgari deck. So still cooperating with his neighbor here, not sharing colors. And we see some nice gold cards here. The Vinery Mentors, again, cards that just function very well in their on their own. Rakshasa Death Dealer was great. Curse Wombat, if you have anything that could put counters, pretty cool. The Sakawali is nice. You can see some of the rares here that may have brought him down this path. And not too much to speak of at rare here. Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a ton of rares pulled him in, but it seems like he's got a decent selection of uncommons. Look like he's the recipient of that gingerbread hunter we were talking about.
Yeah, that card's great. Yeah, so has some removal, has some creatures. Looks okay. Consuming Ashes, yeah. A couple Grave Digs if he wants to do that. He got a Bitter Triumph too. Savage Punch, Longstock Brawl. Yeah, he's got as much removal as you'd want. He's got Insidious Roots. I don't know if we're going to see him do anything with that.
Can't imagine.
That was always a card that derailed my drafts out of sheer enjoyment of what it said it could do. Yeah, nice creatures
Although
here. Heavy on the
we
black.
we didn't see that Insidious Roots. I don't think. I don't think Dan ever saw it, which means maybe Thomas picked it up early.
And it was there. It was there partway through the pack.
Oh, we did see it. Okay.
Yeah, it was there. It was hanging around, but hard to really make use of. All
Yeah.
right, so next is Maxime, who I think he only played in 3 leagues this year, but he always he always has high finishes. So he made his way to Player of the Year through getting a bunch of points in the few leagues he did play in, and it looks like he's got the Rakdos deck. So we know at least he's got a Godric that he's going to be playing. We'll see what other rares he has here that may have drawn him in. He's got a Magda as well, Grim Haruspex, and a Homicide Investigator. So very solid creatures here, and all cheap creatures, right? Like you want these rares that just offer you something in the late game and the early game. So really nice cards there. Nothing, no other rares to speak of, but we can now look a little bit at his removal and creatures. So I did see Totentans hanging over here. Again, a card that works better when you have a bunch of rats, but works just fine without them.
Yeah, probably fine on its own.
He got triple Skoa here, so that's interesting. Quake Tusk Boar is great. You can see some
I don't
removal.
hate it. Don't hate it in
Double
an aggressive deck.
double Blood Soaked Insight is cool. Cut in, Witchstalker Frenzy, Torch the Tower, Stone Splitter Bolt, Explosive Derailment. Yeah, he's got removal. Shatter the Oath if he wants it. It's expensive though. Consuming Ashes, Extract. Yeah, he's got a bunch of removal here. So it looks like he's gonna kill stuff. He's gonna play some nice creatures. Got a bunch of 2 drops. You know, a lot of his none of his 2 drops are like set. A lot of his 2 drops aren't setting the world on fire, but they're just very good to play on curve. And a couple Vault Plunderers. I will always approve of that. We got the grown up big brother of the Vault Plunderer as well over here. And
Yeah, I don't hate it.
and then we got the Kami of Jealous Thirst, which goes well with the Contractor. Um,
Get on, get on board early and
yeah,
kill your opponent's stuff. I
just a
like it.
responsible deck with a good curve and removal. I would expect nothing less from Maxime here. Up next is Zach Carr, who seems perhaps to be sharing colors with his neighbors. We'll see what he ended up with here. It looks like perhaps a Boros deck. Yeah. So rares here. He's the one who did get that hired claw. So maybe that was, and he must have got 2 Valley
Double
Quest
cut.
colors early. I mean, they're good with each other. Well, I guess we'll clock as we go through what else he has. Hired claw, yeah. Inti. I mean, that card's just game winning off and on its own.
Incredible card. Yeah.
Rares here. Doesn't look like too much else going on for the rares. He does have like reanimate. He has a few black cards. Looks like he dipped into black. I'm not sure if it's enough or worth it to splash it. I guess we'll see if he wants. I mean, reanimate is super powerful, but not necessarily a card I'm actively trying to splash. Sunborn here is great. can check his removal. He's got Scurry of Gremlins. That card is, I mean, when you had a lot of energy, it's a powerhouse. I mean, it's still good on its own. It can still win a game out of nowhere, even if it's your only energy card. But he does have an Ether Revolt. Again, I don't think he's in a space to try and do energy deck. Uh, Not too much removal here in red. I see the Ghostfire Slice. In white, he's got a Ambush, Journey to
Yeah,
Nowhere. Yeah, a little
I
less
think I would
removal than I would want, I think. But
right. I think I would have liked to see a bit more removal out of a deck like this.
yeah, he's got good. He's got a lot of twos here, a lot of twos. So he's just trying to curve out, catch opponent off guard. Might not have the amount of removal he's looking, but as long as he draws one of them, he can kill the thing at the right time and ride some of his powerful cards to victory for himself. Up next we have
Definitely a little
yeah
bit early pressure on.
yeah. So up next we have Johnny, who was 2021 Player of the Year, our
Yep,
first Player of the Year at the very least. And he's actually going to be the one facing Dan A in the first round. So we'll have a good idea as we go through what looks to be another Boros effort here. We can look at some of his rares. All right, so he got. I mean, Imodane the Pyro Hammer never really acted like a rare. Slick Shot Show Off, very nice. Party Thrasher was a solid card in MH3. And he's got some. What has he got? Electro
three.
Dominance.
What the hell?
Okay, and the Chimil Inner Sun. I mean, that card decidedly poor with three Electro Dominances, I would say, but
I feel like
well, what
it's
can you do
rare
about
to
it?
see three of those in a Bloomborough draft, and there's or a OTJ
OTJ.
draft, and we only have one OTJ pack.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't want them to show up when you're discovering five, but other than that, the card's nice.
True.
I think definitely like a standout in 2019. Fast forward to 2024, just okay, good to okay, but not a top card
Yeah.
in any regard. Looking at the curve here, we'll check out their removal. It's got also Eartha Joe, which never really had its moment to shine in OTJ, but I mean, depending on what you have, this card can do some pretty powerful things that are unexpected. So aside from the Electro Dominances, he's got a few removals here. He's got the Shock. He's got Agate Assault, Witchstalker Frenzy, Harriet's Lullaby. Not on my watch. He's got a few removals. I think him and Zach were probably sniping cards from each other, which is why neither of them ended up with a huge amount of removal. He's got a quick test board too, like Maxime does. That card's very scary. He's got a lot of high drops. Yeah, he does have a lot of twos as well. Two coyotes, those are always scary. Very low on the white cards, and his white creatures, most of them aren't really super desirable. So very heavy red here um,
Yeah.
in his Boros deck. So up next we have Jordan M, who we seem to have a string of white drafters here. Perhaps again we have two Boros and two Selesnya in sequence here. Maybe those Quetzals that we saw sent them down this path. We'll have to see that. Jordan won how many leagues this year? Three. He is.
Three, I think. Yeah.
He is.
Guy.
It has to be one of the front row.
Yeah.
Another Valley Quest caller. What in the world? Fanatic
Three
of
quest
Voness
colors.
and Scrap Shooter, just rock solid cards. Absolutely great to have in your deck. Feral Encounter. I mean, plays a bit like an uncommon, but really good, right? Like draw a card, kill something. Very
Yeah.
strong. Yeah, look at uncommons here. I guess we'll move to the colors here to see some of the gold cards and removal. Let's see what he's got here. He might be looking to splash black here because I spotted a Rutstein, and that's a very easy splash.
Card you want to splash for too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he got one Kutzel, so if I suspect Evan may have ended up with the other. Sir Armont, I mean, it's okay. If you're not doing more rolls, it's just okay. It's a 4/4 that gives something else +1/+1 and trample. Totally fine. Check the removal here. I mean, Signature Slam, that's about as good as you can get for green. Had the Feral Encounter that we saw. Not too much else. Kellen's Light Blades, Petrify. So again, a bit low on the removal again due to a lot of these players drafting similar colors. Is Maxime and Thomas might be the only ones in black here, and Dan
Seems
and
like
Lots
it.
are the only ones in blue. We did see, at least in the Bloomberg Mega Draft, that you can draft the same colors as your neighbor and make it to the final. So we'll see if Zach and Johnny or Jordan and Evan can share that similar experience. As far as creatures go, he ended up with that angel that we saw. Yeah, a lot of his two drops aren't exactly the ones you necessarily want, but he's got a little bit of ramp here, so he can get to his top end a little faster. Looks like a straightforward enough deck here. White green, a little bit of removal, a couple pump spells here I can see, staggering size and whatnot. Yeah, he may, like I said, maybe splashing black here. Uh, he got a treasure cruise. What a lucky guy. Up next, Evan, who qualified by winning the OTJ League, where I played him in the last round of the Mega Draft. Let's see how his Selesnya deck shaped up. And so he's got this Tortoise, which is just a really unpleasant card to play against if you don't have removal.
4 mana, 6 hexproof, not bad.
Mosswood Dread Knight, I would make a concerted effort to be able to play black. I mean, this card is. I mean, I guess you still play a 2 mana 3/2 trample with no other text, but you're not excited about it. But if you have black mana, you're very happy with that. He stole a Ral away, I guess. No witnesses, so got he does a board wipe too, much like Dan. See Buried in the Garden, which is a really premium card, and yeah, as suspected, he grabbed the other Kutsil. Card's
Makes
just good.
sense.
Card is just good. He's got a Miriam as well, which I mean, 2 mana 3/2. Yeah, I spot a train Arynx here, but can't imagine there's too much else going on in the way of that. Which one's this? Oh, never faced. Okay, yeah, another card that kind of is gonna have a hard time doing a lot outside of its set.
That one's a little more rough too, because it's a 1/3 where it's not like Miriam's at least aggressively statted, but you're probably not too happy about just running a 1/3.
Yeah, removal here, Buried in the Garden, incredible. Try out the Vault, fine. A Colossal Dread Mask is nice, not a removal, but Bite Down, Crime, Bridwitch, Battle, no witnesses, makeshift binding. Again, just a factor of a bunch of players sharing colors. Like 4 in a row are white, 3 in a row are green. So you end up getting, scraps compared to if you're in a more open color. But as far as removal goes, let's see his creatures. He's got some big stuff, that's for sure. He's got a top end here. The low end, he's got a ramper. He's got the Dread Knight. Yeah, his creature's quality trails off a little bit. I think he was. So he must have got that Abzan Battle Priest pretty early on in the first pack. That was the one, might have been the one that Dan opened. Yeah, he doesn't have two. He doesn't have maybe as many 2 drops as you want, but they're of pretty nice quality here. So he can get on board early, use a few removals, have a board wipe if things go wrong, and maybe use a couple of his cool rares to get wins. And last of all, we have Lotta, who won the MKM League, is drafting Simic deck, and did end up with some of those Simic cards that we noted were pretty strong that we saw. Kellen being one of them. She also
Look
got
at
a
that.
Fanatic of Runas. She grabbed the Coveted Falcon,
Your
also
favorite.
with her own volatile lose the game card. I mean, what is it? Oh, Stormbreak, sorry. Ingenious Prodigy. Look, I've seen it win games, but I've seen it just be cast and cause somebody to lose the game, which invalidates all the times that I've seen it be good. Uh, Urgent Necropsy and Ill-Timed Explosion are cards that you might want to consider splashing. Collector's Cage also is a big one, big,
I
very
mean,
very splashable card. So
look at that fixer. Like she might be thinking about it with all those lands too.
I
Look
mean,
at
she
that.
loves herself a 5 color deck. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. Played that in Player of the Year, second round. Just dumped all the best cards she could find in a deck, and it worked. Evidence Examiner's great. We saw that one. Snapping Voidcraw. I mean, it ramps you pretty hard. So, and yeah, we see her
Yeah,
really taking lands here. So,
oh, yeah.
no, knowing her, I would not be surprised to see 2 or 3 colors getting splashed here, particularly for cards with the impact that they could have over the game, like Ill-Timed Explosion, Urgent Necropsy, killing multiple things, collector's cage, just building your board and playing something for free. I would not be surprised to see any or all of those cards make it into the final version of the deck. We'll say,
Yeah,
I guess this is just looking at all the cards available. Yeah, not a huge amount of creatures here, but some good ones. Some high end here. Tunnel Tipster, Fanatic of Ronas for ramp. Yeah, I don't think Embodiment of Spring gets the cut. Yeah, we got some early defensive creatures, so we know what the plan is. The plan is to ramp it up a little bit, play some big stuff, play some powerful rounds, maybe splash some cards that have a really big impact on the game. She ended up with a Whale of the Forgotten. Might want to throw that in too. As far as removal, I'm not seeing too much. I mean, maybe the Banishing Light gets thrown in. Times Explosion again and Necropsy are good. Treasure Cruise gotta love. Into the Fate Court. I mean, that's not a Cloud Blazer impersonator if I've ever seen one. Um, hey, look, it's Ancestral RE, and then it says draw 3 card. If you cut the card in half, it's one of the best cards of all time.
yeah. And then you add the other half, and it sucks.
Lots of card draw, and I know she's a she's a card draw fan. This looks like right up her alley as far as what I know she likes to play. Right, these blue decks with controlling elements and multicolor splashes and double Fountain Port Bell. Yeah, she's got her fixing all lined up. So she's gonna find the 35 or so most powerful cards that can be cast with the fixing that she has, and she's gonna put them in. You know, she did the work picking up the fixing so that she could have flexibility in the deck building, and we'll see how that works out for her and all of our other players when we come back for round one shortly, which will be Dan A versus Johnny.